Oh, we also have transcription. Perfect. So, warm welcome. Maybe I can still wish you all a happy new year. I hope you've all started this year off on great terms. So it's a real pleasure to see that many faces. We have 34 people in this call. And for those who could not make it, as I said, we will be recording it. First, a short introduction to who are we. Some of you know us, some of you are already members. I will just give you a brief overview of what Swiss Food Research does, because it's always important to put a little bit to context before we actually dive into today's topic. Today we will be talking about funding schemes, especially the Swiss ones, also some European ones, and what is new coming to us in 2024, and what has changed. I know some of you personally, you've interacted in different schemes already. So if you have any questions, remarks, put them down, put them in the chat. That's basically how we're going to do it. You also see a lot of my colleagues here. I will briefly introduce them in a minute. Just to who we are, who doesn't know us, we're Swiss Food Research. Our goal is to drive impactful innovation with a holistic approach to more sustainable and resilient agri-food nutrition ecosystem. We're a member-based association. We really act as a bridge builder and are here to help you guys with all the means in terms of innovation in a neutral, confidential, independent manner. Our main goal is really to build the bridges to help drive innovation into application, meaning that whatever we're doing, the goal is that the projects continue and it actually brings value to the community and, of course, your goals as well. As I said, we support along the path of innovation, meaning whatever you have, whatever stage you're in, and this will become really relevant for today's talk. And I will be talking about this path of innovation, meaning the different steps from idea to concept to project up to go to market. Because within all these different steps, there are different funding schemes, there are different means, and of course, you need different knowledge in order to drive that innovation. Just to give a brief overview, what we all do, we are basically working on 3 pillars. One is education, so really spinning back the ideas, what we see here, to accelerate the transformation, to create better, more resilient projects. We also have innovation, meaning our innovation groups. Some of you have participated in them. Basically, our communities within different domains, such as insects up to chocolate, coffee. Have a look there. We also have a new one, the innovation group, Future-Proof Farming, which is really tackling also farmers and this interaction to the consumers in the end. We also have 2 different innovation boosters together with the cluster food and nutrition. I will give you some insights there as well, more specific. And of course, Swiss Food Research supports you guys with one-to-ones, peer reviewing. So whenever you come up with an idea, with a project you would like to do, feel free to reach out to us to get a feedback and also some sparring, the brutal truth of what we think about your project as well. And in the end, what we also do is business creation, EIT food seedbed, for example. This could be interesting for some of you guys, but I will also talk about that as well as regional mandates, as we are working with cantons to help with different kinds of innovation. Some of you have been at our events. As I said, we have the innovation groups, but we also have a plethora of other events happening to network, to build bridges, to find new partners. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us afterwards. You see a lot of nice smiling, hopefully, faces with the blue background, the Swiss Food Research background. I put together our team. So we have Marina here, Peter here, Corinne is here as well. Sandra I've seen as well, Jan and Helen. And of course, Swiss Food Research has a lot of student support who are also helping us to help you guys to do better, more holistic innovation. So enough about us. Now let's talk about innovation funding schemes in 2024. I know you guys have all ideas what you've done, what you want to do in the future. So today we'll be talking about most likely no strings attached funding, meaning state and local funding schemes. I will be talking about where you can get relevant innovation information. Sorry about that, it's been a long day. Where you have the guides to get along, to guide you a little bit through this plethora of different schemes. Of course, there's also the second part. There's always private funding also available. This we'll do in a different meeting where we talk more about, hey, how can you interact with food-specific foundations? And of course, there are other means of no strings attached funding available. A short heads up for those of you who are in the patenting phase or need support or thinking about patents. We'll be also having a webinar on patent and trademarks on the 7th. So if you're interested in that, of course, you will receive follow-up information as well. When I start off this talk, it's really important to know that Switzerland has this really beautiful landscape of many different funding schemes. And it can be really hard to navigate to see, hey, what is out there? What makes sense for me at what point of the development phase? And who is there to support me? Who could be the right partners? Within the framework of this webinar, I will try to show you a little bit how to structure it, maybe how to challenge a little bit how you're approaching it. Because we have a lot of research facilities in Switzerland. We have a large number of local and state programs to support SMEs, to support startups. And of course, there are different formats with different means, such as the Innovation Boost, who aim more for radical and transformative ideas, to really get to a little bit and know about it. What is this differentiation of the different funding schemes, but also what additional programs are out there to drive the change and to also support you guys along the way. To start off with, it's important to look at the different dimensions of projects. Maybe you're an early stage startup, maybe you're just an idea, right? It's really important to look at how big are you in company size? Are you early stage? Are you already as SME? Are you a large corporate? To really think about, hey, what am I eligible for? Second, it's important to think about where am I on the innovation path? Am I just an idea? Am I already in the project phase? Am I already trying to build a prototype? Am I further advanced? Do I need to support and scale up? Or even the go-to-market strategy? All this is important to know where and what kind of funding scheme is important. And of course, when I talk about where, this also means this physical where. So where am I based in Switzerland? So we have a few colleagues who are based in Bern, for example, here. Some are in Zurich. Some are in central Switzerland. So where you're based also can determine your eligibility for different funds. And I will try to pinpoint you a few things. Of course, this is always work which continues, meaning there are new schemes coming, but we try to give you as brief of overview as possible. I would like to spend most of the time of this talk also for your questions. We'll give you this overview and not dive too much into the different schemes. It's important to think about this probability of success. When we talk about innovation projects, this path of innovation, so idea, concept, project, and go to market, also comes with risk. This risk is the inverse of the probability of success. So risk mitigation for different projects is really important. How do you mitigate risk and why do you need to mitigate it? It's always to put this cost value function at an optimum. So whatever funding scheme you're going for, think about how do you mitigate the risk within the project, with whom do you mitigate it, and where do you mitigate it within the framework of your project. At the end of this talk, I will also give you a few tips and tricks, how we look at it when we do one-to-ones, when we give you a feedback. Third part, so we talked about the eligibility criteria, this path of innovation, the risk mitigation. It's always important to think about what kind of innovation am I doing? I put this transformative versus incremental innovation on here, meaning what is transformative? So transformative is all the innovation which is new to market, whereas incremental innovation is new to company. So what do we need for the different kinds of innovation? When we talk about transformative innovation, we have this hat here, symbolizing a research group or an academic partner interacting with an implementation partner, so an industry, startup, SME or corporate. Whereas when we talk about incremental innovation, this is usually an interaction between two implementation partners. So just give you an example, I would like to create a new flavor for my croissant. So I'm a baker, I need this new flavor. Maybe I'm interacting with a big company who's big in flavor. So this is usually a good example in terms of incremental innovation, because it will just create a product which is new to company rather than new to market. So please also bear this in mind whenever you approach a new innovative project. To show you a little bit an overview, it's important to look at it. Maybe just jump. Oh no, that's good. Who gets the money? This is important for, we have a lot of startups here. So we have the incremental implementation partner up here, and we have the academic partner up here. We divided the current funding schemes. So from, for example, Innovation Booster, which are out there, maybe some of you have heard of them. We have InnoSwiss partners with implementation and partner. And of course, also some SNF and Spark programs which are running, to show you a little bit who gets what money. Because when you're doing an innovative project, the modus operandi from back in the days was that the research partner got the money and the implementation partner had to contribute in kind to the project to really drive that innovation. This shift was now initiated, that more projects are coming to support startups, to support early stage ideas directly with funding which can be received by the implementation partner. So an example is the Swiss Accelerator, which some of you might have seen. We have the funding schemes from OFAC, but also from the Department of Energy, which is out there. To show you, and you will receive all the different links and inputs from us as well, a little bit for the different phases. So when you're in the concept phase, meaning lab to proof, there are a few funding schemes are available, but they also come with, let's say, strings, right? Public funding is usually no strings attached, but also needs somehow commitment from your side. This can be that you can only receive it once every 2 years, such as an InnoCheck. Sometimes you have to bring co-funding, for example, for the Innovation Booster, but they also come not just with different strings attached or commitments, but also they target specific ideas or specific level of innovation. So it's really important to always look at what kind of target does the funding scheme have before you dive in this application phase. So if you have any questions there, reach out to whoever is responsible for the call. But also you can reach out to us to give a little bit of insight of, hey, what is the target and how can you, with your idea, with your problem, address this target as well as possible. When we're then in the prototyping and development phase, there are also additional projects such as BAFU, so the Office for Environment, which are available. We still have InnoSwiss available as Startup Innovation Project. Some of you might have seen it, quite interesting as well, but also innovation projects with an implementation partner to really drive larger projects as well. Having this said, sorry for the German term, the BLW, so the OFAC funding schemes are always quite interesting, because when you think about doing reverse supply chain integration, partnering up with farmers, so René is here, he can maybe then give an insight from his side as well, can be really interesting to do innovative projects to really drive your idea as well. When we then think about we're getting closer to the market launch, there are also a few specific calls which are open to support you. These kind of schemes become more and more relevant. So for example, the Swiss Accelerator, which is sponsored by InnoSwiss, we have RegioSwiss, which also supports different projects which are sponsored by the SECO, ARE, and OFAC. We have larger Projekte zur Regionalentwicklung, so projects for regional developments, which are available. But what we see is happening more and more, especially in 2024, that we have local governments supporting go-to-market and incremental innovation even more. So for those who are based, for example, in Aargau, so there's the HTZ Aargau, I will briefly show you that as well. What are the different means? This is available. We have KMU und Innovation, for example, for Zurich-based companies. There's INOS for Eastern Switzerland based companies as well. But there are also ones happening in Bern and Central Switzerland, which are all available. But of course, always look at the target, who's being targeted, and who's actually eligible for it. For me, the takeaway from this slide is the closer you get to market launch, the more regional schemes are applied. So coupling it with regional value chains, finding partners which are in the region can really help and is highly recommended from our side. To also look at it from a different perspective, I stumbled across this nice overview from the Office for Energy, so the Federal Office of Energy, to show you a little bit their view on the different pots which are available, and also the size, meaning money. Just to illustrate this a little bit, just the size of the different schemes which are out there. This is analog to the ones I just presented, but more in this dimensions of national to international. And again, this, where are you on the innovation path? Just to give you a little bit of inspiration, maybe you get stuck, hey, nobody is out there supporting, or could be out there supporting it, to just challenge a little bit this mode of thinking. So to briefly dive into this, I would highlight again, as it started last year as well, this InnoSwiss funding instruments, the Startup Innovation Projects, which has the goal to support startups prior market entry. Please have a look at it. I think it's really interesting what you can do with it, how to receive direct support, financial support, but also look at the terms. Hey, you have to be founded less than 5 years ago. You have to be registered in Switzerland in less than 50 FTEs to be eligible for it. What is worth noting, and also when you think about going for an innovation project, try to figure out the approval rate. So this helps to put into context what is your chance of success. But also when you put it into perspective of the volume of the pot which is available. Good. Second thing I would like to highlight is also the Swiss Accelerator and Swiss Startup Innovation Project. Those of you who have not heard about it, both are by InnoSwiss, but they have 2 different targets. So for the Swiss Accelerator, as I said, this is for aftermarket entry, whereas when I just mentioned before, the Startup Innovation Project is prior market entry. It's always important to also look at how long can my project be. So for the Swiss Accelerator, this can be unlimited the length, whereas for the Startup Innovation Projects, it's capped by 36 months. This gives you an idea how big the project can be, but also how fast do you have to have an idea what happens after the project. So this is also worth thinking about, hey, when I've finished my innovation project, what will happen afterwards? And how am I going to drive it more to the market, or am I doing a next research project to gain more insights for my idea? Another really interesting scheme, which Swiss Food Research together with Cluster Food and Nutrition has as a leading house. Some of you might have heard this, the Innovation Booster Swiss Food Ecosystem. This is one innovation booster, but there's also a second innovation booster out there, Future Food Farming, with 2 different goals. So for the Swiss Food Ecosystem, the goal is to do open exploration for more resource efficiency along the value chain. So how or problems are sought for, which help for more resource efficiency along the value chain, whereas the Future Food Farming is for ideas and problems, how to bridge the gap between farmers and consumers or citizens for more future-proof Swiss food system. The idea is, again, there's a success rate. There's up to 11 to 13 ideas are supported with roughly 39,000 Swiss francs. If you would like to participate, the next workshop is on the 6th of February, happening in Bern. You will receive all the information from us. If you would like to sign up, you can also go to the website, Swiss Food Ecosystem, if you would like to join. The tool Innovation Booster is made to create transformative ideas, meaning we really want to dive into problems. So to understand how and who is this problem, or sorry, for whom is it a problem and how is it a problem, to really understand and create better solutions in the end. There's also Spark I would like to mention. So we have a few researchers here. Spark is funded by the Swiss National Science Foundation, designed to really do unconventional thinking, to do unconventional projects. This can be also highly interesting for researchers who just think about creating a spin-off to really get first foothold about creating a new project. In a nutshell, the Spark is for 6 months to up to 1 year, and also comes with maximum of 100,000 Swiss francs and is open to all disciplines. As I said, have a look at the different submission deadlines. So all the ones I'm just showing you right now have the submission deadlines coming up, so that you're a little bit aware what is the next ones which were open. But of course, look at it whether you're eligible for it beforehand. Horizon Europe, I think a lot of you have heard about it. Switzerland is treated as a non-associated third country, so we can still participate, but we cannot lead it. This is really interesting for doing bigger projects together with other partners across Europe. So for those who are a little bit further advanced, have a look at it. The SERI, so the State Secretariat for Education, Research and Innovation, is subsidizing at the moment. So you're not a burden to other partners in Europe. As I said, there's plenty of calls open also on European level. Have a look at it. If you feel like you can work on innovation projects across Europe, but of course with all the European projects, they're way more competitive, and of course mostly just 1 to 2 projects are funded, but they also come with a bigger, let's say, ticket size in terms of funding. We put together all important links also when you would like to reach out to Euresearch, also a state agency who's supporting European research calls. Feel free to reach out to Agnieszka. Just to highlight a little bit, I'm pinpointing a lot of things and give you insights in some of it, but it's also important to look at what is happening on regional levels. Most regional offices can hand out just an overview about their funding schemes. Those of you who have not interacted with the regional development officer, please do so. If you would like to get in contact with them, you can also reach out to us so we can help you building the bridge, because the regional development offices can also support up to some degree, of course, always depending on where you're based. Sometimes there's more or less available. I'm highlighting a lot of projects here. One project which I think, as I've seen a few startups here and startup projects here, market validation is something I can really highlight for you. There's something called EIT Food Seedbed. This is within the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, which is a market validation program to really find the different markets across Europe, to think about, hey, how can my innovation, my idea be implemented in different markets, to build bridges, to get some of the funding to do some traveling, but mostly building up the network across Europe. The application is open now, so have a look at it. It's under, when you Google EIT Food launch, you will find all the details. Before I open up question, what is our research projects done, I think it's also makes sense to reflect it a little bit. Where does it make sense to place projects? I tried to do this in a more schematic way, to visualize a little bit. Here is your core business. You have your input, you do a transformation, you have your output. Some of you may be working in food, so you have a raw material here, you have your secret machinery here, you create an output. Working in the core, this could be a project, right? To think about, how can I optimize my transformation? How can I get a better footprint? This could be a project within the core, right? I can also work on the recipe, right? So take this example from someone working with a pure food product. How can I change the input? Maybe it makes sense to work with a farmer to change that input, to get it better, to get it cheaper, to get it more flavorful. This could be a project as well. And third, thinking about the supply chain. How can I optimize it? How can I do it differently? These are all kind of projects you could place around the core of your business. When we think about tap, meaning I'm tapping into a new market. So I'm using my existing business, my existing infrastructure to leverage a next generation product. This could be also done and could be highly innovative. And third but not least, you could also think about, hey, I'm just using my little bit of money and my brain power to create something which is really outside of your original business solution. So it really makes sense to put it into place. Hey, where do I want to be in the future? With whom do I want to be? And what is my next generation product? And of course, doing projects in the core, so working on optimization, recipe or supply chain, and also tapping into new or launching different ventures requires different partners and competencies. So sometimes you need machine manufacturers, sometimes you need someone in logistics, sometimes you need access to markets. This all comes with a trade-off, right? Sometimes the trade-off is that you lose focus. Sometimes it means that you lose some go-to-market speed when you do totally new projects. Always think about that before you actually start a new project. So to just summarize this up, I'm trying to have it as brief as possible. So a core project should protect your business, help you to become more financially viable. If that's the case, try to think about how to get there. If you think about, hey, I want to create a next generation thing, think about, hey, how can I tap into new markets with an existing product? And last but not least, if you want to launch something, you have to think about, hey, how is my project adding value to new markets, new products? Having said that, what I'm trying to help you with is think outside the box. You now have your startup, you have your idea. It's all about the framing. There's so many funding schemes available. I put here a really out of the box idea. There's something called InnoTour, which is sponsored by the SECO. It's for innovation in tourism, right? So you could also think about, hey, how can I frame my problem in a way that I can interact with tourist offices, hotels, for example, to deploy my innovation there. So coming a little bit to the final, so I show you what are the different paths or steps of innovation, but also would like to give you some tips and tricks on what makes a successful application when you then decide after clicking through all those links, hey, Lucas, I would like to go for that funding. Think about the problem. What is the underlying problem? We try to challenge that, for example, in the Innovation Booster, to really figure out, is it just a short-term problem? Is it a mid-term problem? Or when will it be solved and who else is out there solving it? Try to formulate an opportunity statement. This makes it easier for reviewers and for other people to understand your project. Think about projects along the value chain. So engage stakeholders, as I just put it as an example, right? If you would like to optimize your product or exchange the protein source, might make sense to engage with farmers. If you're engaging with farmers, you have access to other funding schemes, which are come with different strings attached, but could also enable you to create a different product. Then bring in the right competencies. What we often see is that when people apply for a project, they might have not all the competencies within the project. Try to figure that out. Who can bring what? And if you have issues there, also reach out to people. Last but not least, think about who are you pitching to. right? Who is the reader and receiver of your application? Is it a startup pitch? And it's an investor, right? Is it a project pitch? What is the scientific question you're addressing? What kind of hypothesis do you have? Has it been addressed? Is also a big question you have to ask yourself. Has someone already tried to solve it? So a good tip is to go to Aramis. So this is the project database with all the projects which were funded by the Swiss government, to see if someone had a similar or the same idea as you had, or so you're having, just to get an insight. Does it make sense to place such a project? And of course, think about how you can actually leverage different kinds of projects in a meaningful manner, right? Am I just doing Verabklärung innovative Projekte? So just to get an insight more from the OFAC level about your project, and to have then a follow-up, which might be an InnoSwiss, or even further down the road, have a BAFU project in the end. So think about what stepping stones are you using, and when are you using these stepping stones in order to create track records to show, hey, I am the one who's doing that, and we've already have this and that insight, and our learnings are that to further drive the next project. Also, to increase the acceptance rate, ask for help. Reach out before you write tens of pages. Get challenged. Think about other solutions and try to anticipate it. This can be, hey, I found a patent which might infringe down the road my project outcomes. Think about this beforehand. Do that due diligence, have a look at it, and try to check it thoroughly. Also do a solid stakeholder mapping, right? Who is out there, who's interested in the solution, and who's not interested in that solution of that problem. This is really important to also increase this chance of market acceptance. There's tons of guides, links, and schemes out there. I put all of them in this, let's say, last useful links. We have two also open at the moment. So there's a food tech specific call open at Eureka. And there is also the IRA SME open. So joint initiatives between Switzerland and Germany. Have a look at it. Those might be highly interesting for you to do cross-border projects when you're already at that stage. So, take-home message. Think about what is your idea, what is the problem you're solving, create an innovation roadmap. So, which insight am I gaining, what for, at what stage? You can always book a one-to-one with us if you have an idea, if you already have something written. We're more than happy to peer review it. And last but not least, just stay in touch and help others helping each other. So with that, thank you very much for your attention, and we will start with the Q&A. Corinne already put it in there. Hold on, I'll just. All right. So the first question was for the case of Swiss Accelerator, since for the next call for Horizon Europe, Switzerland will be included as beneficiary manager. This means that Swiss Accelerator will be finished from Julia. No, maybe is this a question regarding how the SBFI, so the Secretary for, or the, sorry, the SERE will allocate the money. So this is a potential outcome that it will be finished next year. So if you look at the spending of the Swiss government, there will be spending cuts, especially in research, innovation, and education, which are most likely coming start of next year. So yes, this can be a case which is happening. And we do not have any more information than that, but a good point. There's also from Olga a call whether there's a next call open for a flagship project. Unfortunately, I have to deny this. We have no knowledge, or I have no knowledge. Maybe Peter, maybe you have received anything regarding a flagship project?
No, sorry, not, no.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's also something, yeah, we try to pay attention to, but we have not received anything. Any other questions? No other questions. So everybody looking through the links already. So just to repeat a little bit my basic message. Try to figure out your problem you want to solve first. Come early to us. Engage with other people here in the call. Most of you in here have already had touch with Innovation Project, have learned something from it. The earlier you reach out, the better feedback you will get. Peter made that example last time as well, right? If you come to us 2 weeks before submission, it's really hard to help you with it, because then we can just correct commas and spelling errors. Whereas when you come early, we can also think about, hey, is the framing right? Have we seen it? Is it also put into economical relevance? I think this is also important to know. Any other specific questions already? I'm sure it will come. If not, I have one challenge for you, or one input for you. Do me a favor. I will put something in the chat. There's a link in the chat for Google Forms. We've asked this also last time to get a little bit an insight from startups, what you're dealing with. If you have 10, 15 minutes to go through that survey, just give us a little bit of insights, what you're working at. This will give us an idea of what is happening out there, and we can also design our funding schemes and optimize them as well. And of course, if you have any feedback to us, I'm always happy to receive it as well. No more questions? So, if not, then I would like to close this meeting. So have a look at the different funding schemes when the deadline is. We'll be having a webinar on patents. Have also looked there. I think when you're working on projects in your core business, it's always relevant to think about IP and IP strategy as well. There's the workshop for the Swiss food ecosystem on the 6th. Marina is there in the lead. You will also receive an invite if you're interested to create more transformative projects. We will do this funding scheme webinar next year again. In the meantime, if something is coming up, whether this is flagship, whether this new funding schemes, you will receive it in our newsletter. We try to put it as fast as possible. But as I said, as Juliana asked, expect that there will be less funding schemes next year. So it will also become more competitive in order to obtain funding. Good. Then I wish you a pleasant evening, and thank you very much for your attention.